5 years is a long time in any person's lifetime, and if we were to take a look at things in retrospect, we would realize that in only 5 years of time, how much life has actually changed. Think about 5 years ago on this day. It was April 2016, and the spring had just began, like the flowers were blossoming. Life felt like it was beginning all over again, as it does every year once that wave of New Year's resolutions pass by. Sadly, we lost one of the greats at the time around this time of year, as well as another one later around June, and it's crazy to think how many people say that 2016 was one of the best years in the last decade, but for me, it was one of the worst. I'll be honest, I was in one of the darkest times in my life in 2016, as I had some family matters to attend to, and I'll never forget it for as long as I live, but I'm only grateful for it. Now, in 2016, we saw some pretty awesome games released, like No Man's Sky, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, Pokemon Go, Overwatch, Forza Horizon 3, and of course, who won't ever forget how the year ended with the release of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare alongside one of the best shooters to ever grace our planet, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare Remastered. Maybe that's why everyone loved this year. People were sick of using jetpacks in Black Ops 3, even though as much as people hated on the game, I thought it was pretty substantial, especially compared to today's Call of Duty multiplayer games. What's really cool is around this time of year, a lot of YouTubers and content creators were breaking boundaries in their spaces, and even myself, I had posted my first ever unboxing video on my channel, which surprisingly, for a very small channel, did some pretty decent numbers. Like, if it didn't do as well as it did, things might have been different today. During a time where gaming was mostly single-player and multiplayer games, 2016 was kind of a time of peace and closure for gamers, as the end of the year saw some rejuvenation and some nostalgia for us. But oh man, did we not know what was about to come next year in 2017. So in comes 2017, and this year was a sleeper year. I'll tell you that right off the bat. Like, at least for me it was. 2017 was one of those years that began very peaceful. As I said, I had some family matters to attend to, and then it got very exciting as time went on. As far as the world goes, we saw some massive improvements in social media, with numbers skyrocketing everywhere, like on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, plenty of other platforms. I also really enjoyed watching that solar eclipse down here in Florida. I actually went to Daytona Beach, and it was pretty chill there. Like, I really recommend it to anyone who hasn't gone yet. You can drive your cars on the beach. Now, when it comes to video games, 2017 was one hell of a year, my friends. To start, Nintendo took the world by storm. When they released the Nintendo Switch, they revolutionized mobile gaming as we know. I want you to think about this for a second. A Nintendo gaming device that you can pick up and play anywhere you want. And then, whenever you like, you can go home and hop on your TV and pick up exactly where you left off. So, you combine that with online play, and the Switch was kind of set to be a superstar the moment it was announced. Literally being able to combine the best features of Nintendo's greatest consoles, such as the Nintendo DS and the Nintendo 64. Like, this is one of the greatest consoles that has ever been created. I don't care what anybody says, it deserves its right on the throne. Now, alongside the release of the Switch was one of the greatest games to ever release of all time, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. To be honest, I still play it today. In fact, I love it so much that I haven't even beat the game yet, and I have over 200 hours clocked in on it. Like, for some reason, I feel like postponing the Ganon boss fight as much as possible, just kind of makes me feel less empty inside, because I know, like, I still have something left to do in that main quest of the game, even though I've explored, like, every ounce of Hyrule Castle by now. A few other notable games that released in 2017, we'll throw a couple out there, like Persona 5, Horizon Zero Dawn, Destiny 2, and of course, who wouldn't forget about that beloved Battle Royale genre, kind of joining our gaming world in the masses in July when Fortnite was initially released. It's kind of crazy to think about how epic and big of a deal Battle Royale was and still is for people, even though it's been around for a while before 2017, but it didn't really hit the scene until, recently in the last few years. PUBG and Fortnite, they took the gaming world by storm. They both released in 2017. Not a lot of people remember how big it was in 2017 because of how big it was in the coming years. And I'm sure everyone remembers when they got their first victory royale, because I sure as hell do. And it was so crazy to see how PUBG and Fortnite were like competing for who can make the best battle royale. But I played both at the time, and I can say that they were two completely different experiences. You know, even with all the lawsuits and things that happened, I think they were two completely different experiences for sure. Now, as far as YouTube goes, I really didn't make any videos this year. As I said earlier, I had some family matters to attend to. After losing one of my nearest and dearest family members, I had to take some time off, and I had to figure things out for myself and what I want for me and my future, and I don't regret a single moment of that, okay? 2017 was truly a blessed year. And so we end the year with a controversial Call of Duty game, Call of Duty World War II, which, I'll be honest, I played a hell of a lot of this game. I don't know, just something about it felt right. The nostalgia really captured me. Like, I loved using all the old weapons in that game, and after playing Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare back to back for 2 straight years, it kind of felt nice to be back on the ground in a Call of Duty game. Maybe the developers realized that after seeing all that positive feedback they received when they released Modern Warfare Remastered, that World War II, would succeed. So, World War II, of course, it was tedious. It kind of got annoying after a while, but it was definitely like something fresh and new for us to experience, and I enjoyed the game. Of course, it was sweaty. Of course, the gunfights were ridiculous sometimes, but listen, this is Call of Duty we're talking about, guys. Come on now. So moving on to 2018, this was a really cool year because so many things were on the verge of releasing. So the anticipation for like single player games was really high this year, especially if you were a PlayStation owner. I'm also really happy to have done all that I did in 2018. I traveled quite a lot and saw so many awesome things this year, but what really intrigued me the most was the mountains. I went hiking the first time ever in 2018 in Cloudland Canyon, Georgia. And let me tell you, this was a breathtaking experience, guys. Yes, I know there are other places in the country and in the world that one can go to hike, but because it was my first time, it felt really special and I enjoyed it quite a lot. So anyone that has ever thought about taking like a hiking trip, definitely do it. Don't be afraid, because your fears are the only thing that hold you back from doing what you want to do in life, guys. We are what we allow ourselves to be. And if you allow yourself to be an adventurous person, then I can say that you're up for the challenge, because as fun as hiking is, it is also a challenge. And that's what it's all about, guys. Challenging yourself every day, because without that, we would be in the same spot that we're in right now. So challenge yourself every day, guys. You'll only thank yourself for it later, I promise. Anyways, back to the video games in 2018. So something really special happened in 2018, right? So God of War for the PS4 released. This game was awe-inspiring. It definitely redefined the God of War franchise as we know it today. It had some great callbacks to the old games too. And if I can just say that this is by far one of the best video games I've ever played in my entire adult life, because it is. And it really deserves the right to be in the conversation when it comes to talking about the top 5 best video games of all time. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, the relationship that Kratos builds with his son Boy, whose name is really Atreus, is really something, guys. Like, every time I played this game, I would find myself just drifting off in the high seas, listening to their stories, drag out time before I finally head to my next realm to continue my journey. So the fact that this game got Game of the Year was incredible. This game was so dynamic, it was adventurous, and it captured everything that I love about playing a story-driven game. So hats off to you, God of War and Santa Monica Studios. I cannot wait to play Ragnarok. Later in the year, I took my first cross-country road trip from Florida to Chicago, and I think that this was a really special trip because not only do I have family up there, but I had actually never been up there by car. I usually fly up there, so we went. When we went, it was really exciting because of all the states and things you can experience on the way up from Florida to Illinois. Maybe I can show you guys some more from this trip and others as well later, because it's way too much to pack into this video. 2018 was also a really experimental year for my channel. After having to take that personal time and a personal hiatus for almost 2 years, I finally had returned to showcase the new Spider-Man game, but I wasn't quite ready like for walkthroughs yet at the time. Like I was still trying to figure out how to capture them on the channel, so I actually never got a chance to play it on here. Speaking of Spider-Man, what a freaking game, bro. Like, I know that there were some great releases in 2018, but this one was such a personal favorite for me because I'm a huge Marvel fan. If you don't know by now, I have been waiting for a good Spider-Man game to release for years, and I have played pretty much every Spider-Man game that has ever come out to date. And yes, I've even played Spider-Man Web of Shadows because I still think that this is one of the greatest Spider-Man games to date. It's so underrated, and I stand by it. Now, Spider-Man PS4 was also one of the most popular games that year, mainly because it was super open world. It definitely echoed the gameplay of like the Batman Arkham games, which I really enjoyed a lot because I love those games. They were some of my favorite action adventure games as I was growing up as well. So not only was it great gameplay, but the graphics were beautiful, bro. Like the way Insomniac did this game was a true fan service to any Spidey fan ever. I cannot wait to play Spider-Man 2, and I can't wait for it to release because I love the OG Spider-Man. Even though Miles Morales was dope, I still can't believe that I beat this, that game on my channel. But yeah, Spider-Man 2 needs to come out. So hurry up, Insomniac, because I got my PS5. I'm waiting for that true next-gen swinging experience. Let's go. After Spider-Man came out, not too long after, we got the new Call of Duty for the year, which was a very interesting one, I must say. Call of Duty Black Ops 4. This was the first time that a Call of Duty game was being released without a campaign mode. So lots of hype was surrounded by this year's Call of Duty because let's not forget that this is the first Call of Duty that ever released a Battle Royale game mode, and before Warzone, so I'll give them props for that. They really did put themselves out there during a year where Fortnite was still popping off and PUBG started to become a little less popular because people really wanted like a substantial Battle Royale first-person shooter that was for consoles. And, PUBG was good, don't get me wrong, but it was really only playable on PCs, unfortunately. So it was really nice to get like a fresh new take on Battle Royale when Blackout came out. I enjoyed it. I even covered it on my channel at the time. I feel like Blackout was either going to be a hit or a miss at the time. So it felt good at the time, and I enjoyed playing it, but of course people always have something to say if something isn't perfect. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to give credit to Treyarch because the graphics, the gameplay, the maps, the guns, most of Blackout was pretty good for that time. I think lots of it can be improved, of course, but essentially, if you really think about it, without Blackout releasing and having all the issues it did, Warzone wouldn't have anything to go off of and improve upon. So I really think Blackout definitely has a lot to do with the reason why Warzone is successful. So don't forget, it wasn't a free-to-play online battle royale, so that makes a big difference, and I can talk more about this in another video, maybe. We'll see. Then, of course, the hottest game of the year, which I'm sad to say I never really got to fully play it, was Red Dead Redemption 2. So, it's kind of crazy because I never actually played the first Red Dead game, so I was never really into the series. I'm really more of a GTA guy when it comes to Rockstar games, but Red Dead 2, I did buy it for my PlayStation, and I even started playing it, but I never really finished, right? I don't know, man. Just like something about the game, it never really intrigued me or like piqued my interest, but everyone tells me different, right? People swear by that game. They call it one of the best games of all time and other things. So, I mean, I'm open-minded, right? I'll probably come around and give it a try in the future. I still have it till this day. So all in all, 2018, it was a great year for video games. Generally speaking, I really enjoyed it. So let me know what you guys think about that year. Drop a comment. Definitely stay tuned for the next video, which is going to be part 2 in 2019. Things were really, really interesting. So stay tuned for part 2. And it'll be coming soon. Thanks for watching, guys. This is Corrojin, and I'm out.